Hi guys, welcome to this video where I'm going to be teaching you about absolute values. So have you ever heard the term absolute value? What does it mean? Alright, so every time you hear about absolute values in mathematics, we always denote them with this symbol here. So it's usually that x absolute value is equal to, or maybe the absolute value of y is 8, or maybe the absolute value of z. What does absolute value mean, really? You just think about it as the distance, just a positive value, really, that denotes distance. Think about it as distance in simplicity. So the first thing we're going to do to get the value x, or to get the solution set, first of all, the absolute value will always be equal to a positive value. But if you get rid of this absolute value, what will it mean? It means that this value that is in these bars, let me call them as bars, can equal to a positive or a negative without the absolute value. This is what I mean. So right now the absolute value is positive here, it's positive there, good. But if I get rid of this absolute value, that means the value of x can equal to negative 2, can also equal to positive 2. That means the solution set of x, we write it like this, will be 2, negative 2. So the trick is always make sure that the absolute value, whatever is in the absolute value symbol, is alone, like shouldn't have a coefficient, right? So like here it's alone and here it's alone. So let's look at 5z, absolute value is equal to 40. What does that mean? This means if I get rid of this absolute value symbol, 5z can equal to positive 40, and also 5z at the same time can equal to negative 40, right? To get z alone in this second equation, right, set of z is equal to 8, negative 8. That's how we're going to be working them out, right? All right, so please feel free to pause this video and take down a few notes and try these problems alone by yourself. Let's move on to the next example. What if we have this equation right here? So we're having 6 x absolute value being equal to 24. What do you think? Is the absolute value alone, or does it have a coefficient? It does have a coefficient, so get rid of that coefficient first. So we're having 6 x absolute value is equal to 24. Let's get rid of that 6. Divide both sides by 6. So now we're having the absolute value of x being equal to 4. That means if I get rid of this absolute value, x can equal to a positive 4. X can also equal to a negative 4 without the absolute value symbol. So that means the solution set of x is 4, negative 4. That's what it means. All right, simple, right? Okay, try out the next problem. Pause the video, try out the next problem, and then see if we get the same answer. If we look at this next problem, really, what do you think? Does the absolute value symbol have a coefficient? Yes or no? We don't need those coefficients if it does. So yes, it does. 1 out of 6. This denominator 6, which is the same as 1 out of 6. So how do you get rid of this 6? Yeah, so yes, we multiply both sides of the equation by 6. So multiply by 6, multiply this side by 6, such that this 6 cancels with that 6. And then here we'll be left with 2w minus 4 absolute value is equal to 18. If I get rid of these absolute value symbols, that means 2w minus 4 can equal to 18. Let me call this equation 1. And also 2w minus 4 can equal to negative 18. This is equation 2 to get the value of w in both equations. And this will give us 2w being equal to negative 14. Divide both sides of the equation by 2 cancels. W will be equal to negative 7. So we have 2 values of w. So the solution set of w is 11, negative 7. So that's the solution set of w. See, very interesting. And lastly, we're having the absolute value of x is equal to negative 6. Question, does this make sense? So whenever you have an absolute value being equal to a negative, there is no solution. So x, the solution set of x doesn't exist. So always make sure that the absolute value equals to a positive. And then if we go back up, this was a positive. So every time it's a negative, the solution set doesn't exist. All right. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you again in my next video. Bye.